Hello once again, witchy people. Welcome back to the Covenstead, and this evening, the early hours of this morning actually, I wanted to talk about hares. And this was partly because SJ Paz asked about the magical and historical significance of the hare when I was talking about Easter and Ostara and Ostra. So for me, March is the perfect time, obviously, to be talking about hares. And it's one of my very favourite animals. Now, although mainly nocturnal, during March they can often be seen in bare fields, sort of leaping and apparently boxing. Now, this boxing show is often the females trying to box off rather amorous males, shall we say? fending off randy males. But that sort of action, that boxing action, is where we get the term mad as a March hare from, which has been a phrase that's been in the English language now for more than 600 years, definitely. So unlike smaller native mountain hares, brown hares, or European hares as they're sometimes known, probably introduced by the Romans, maybe, though they may have been here longer than that. But anyway, they don't turn white in the winter seasons. They stay the same colour, and numbers have dropped by more than 80% in the past couple of hundred years. There were 200 years ago, there were probably more than 4 million brown hares. Like I said, there's a lot less now. And that's mainly due to the loss of hedgerows and the use of pesticides which kill off leverets by the thousands. And intense farming also plays quite a critical role as well. And that's because, like I said, they don't hibernate. So they rely on a lot of the hedgerows for their winter food, and throughout the summer anyway, it was quite common for farmers to kill them because they were thought of as a pest. But during the winter, they need the hedgerows because they rely on the hedgerows for their food, for bark, twigs, a lot of grasses, and a lot of herbs. They are herbivores after all. So they can run up to about 45 miles per hour, which makes them Britain's quickest and fastest land animal. But what amazes me is not the fact that they can leap so high, but the fact that they can also leap sideways and even backwards over hedges if they're being chased by a predator. So ancient Celtic peoples viewed the hare as a magical, mystical, almost supernatural creature, and they associated them with the other world, places found outside of normal space and time, so liminal spaces, which is probably why I love them so much. Hares, not ancient Celts. Not that I don't love ancient Celts. So the Celts thought of them as very solitary animals, and they were noted, obviously, as I said before, for being nocturnal. And because they were very nocturnal, they were associated with the moon. And the Celts greatly admired hares for their strength, their agility and their speed. And they revered the hare so much that they would not kill a hare or eat a hare's flesh, except for at Beltane festivals. Then not so lucky for the hare. But throughout the whole rest of the year, it was just a no-no to kill a hare. The Celts even studied hare droppings. If a hare was killed, they would study hare guts, or like if they'd been killed by another creature. And even their mating dances and their tracks. They studied them all and used them as divination and divination techniques. Now, Queen Boadicea, or Boudica, however you'd like to say her name, obviously depends on her age, because I think it changes. I think my generation used to say Boadicea, but now it's Boudica. Anyway, she prayed to a goddess in the form of a hare before going out to battle the invading Roman armies. And the Saxons also believed that the hare was to be honoured and worshipped. So yes, pre-Christian times were somewhat good for the hare. They were definitely good, actually. However, the creature that once symbolised luck, fertility, rebirth, sensuality, transformation, and luck when hunting, ancient Celts and ancient Britons very much revered them and thought of them as a good luck talisman for hunting. But that creature then began to symbolise bad luck when Christianity became more popular. So it was believed that witches could turn themselves into hares and thus sneak into cornfields and into fields unnoticed and into meadows unnoticed and bewitch the cattle. But even during those witch-fearing times, it was still considered extremely unlucky to kill a hare before sunrise. Even if that hare was stopped dead in the middle of your pathway, you should not kill it. Now, if a hare happened to cross your pathway 3 times, that was a signal that you should turn back and go back where you came from, because the road ahead was going to be dangerous, filled with bad luck, and it was the hare giving you a warning. So yeah, danger would befall you if you carried on down that road, that literal road. Of course, now with the popularity of the old ways returning, so is the popularity and the better perception of the hare becoming, once again, a more positive aspect, and it's viewed as a symbol of luck and balance once again. So hares are associated with many, many moon deities, but also gods and goddesses throughout time, history and cultures. Ancient Egyptians viewed the hare as a symbol of the very essence of life and being, and had both a god and a goddess representing the hare. I think the female goddess was called Wenet, I think. Of course, I'm trying to think of all the gods and goddesses that are associated with the hare, and some of them, obviously Ostara, Holder, Aphrodite, Artemis, Cupid, Celtes, which was a Siberian goddess, Chang'o, which is a Chinese moon goddess, specifically a moon goddess, Ceridwen, Hermes, Thoth, and Draste, which was a British war goddess, funnily enough, which is where that good luck with hunting came in as well, because it kind of crossed over to good luck in war as well. So all of these have very strong hare connections representing change, fertility, the dusk and the dawn, transformation, the moon itself, renewal, rebirth, and because of that whole renewal, rebirth and transformation, it can also represent death, and the cycle of life sort of thing. And Native Americans thought of the hare as creator, trickster, and a bringer of knowledge and also fire to man, to the human race. Mexico and China, among others, have myths and legends depicting a hare in the moon rather than the man in the moon. So going back to the moon and hares, moon-gazing hare, is the moon-gazing hare true? Do hares really gaze at the moon? Do they become mesmerised by moonlight? Well, yes, maybe they do. Hares, as I said before, are nocturnal, and are very, very alert. So whilst they're sort of like out feeding and eating in bare fields especially, they often stop what they're doing, back on their hind legs, and start looking around. And obviously they need the moon's light to be able to see if there's any danger in the skies or around. So, you know, they're looking out for predators and danger. So perhaps it seems that they are gazing at the moon. Or perhaps they really do become captivated by moonlight and the glow of the moon. They certainly seem to note the moon's progress across the night sky. And this is something that's been noted universally by, once again, many ancient peoples and cultures throughout history. And the moon-gazing hare itself is a symbol throughout so many different stories, legends. It's found throughout history. And even alongside the stories of the moon-gazing hare is the triple hare symbol. Now, the triple hare symbol, so it's the whole birth, rebirth, and transformation. And that's a cycle. It represents a cycle and change. That symbol has been found in so many different places throughout time and history. So it was found in a cave in China, and it was a Buddhist depiction, and that was dated around about the late 1st to early 2nd century. It's found in ancient Persia, Germany, Israel. Ancient Jewish manuscripts even note this triple hare symbol, and even has Mongolian and Islamic references. So, like I said, it's the hare is something that's been noted worldwide, culturally, historically, by many different ancient peoples, and it was revered, and it's coming back that way. So, like I said, I love hares, and definitely a mystical, magical, intriguingly beautiful creature. And obviously it's not just me that thinks that. So there you go, a little bit about hares. I think hopefully past the sort of normal, what ancient counts kind of believe, because that's quite well-known information. So a little bit more about hares and what they may mean and why they mean something special, magically and spiritually. That's it. Thank you for watching. I'll be back very soon. Bye for now, witchy people.